Hi everyone, my name is Jenny Maruna. I was having some difficulty overlaying my audio with the Google Slide presentation, so I'm going to do a video and then I'll link my Google Slides in the comments or in the same reply down below. So let's get started. I'm doing my presentation on the social pillar of China. So for civil society, I chose 3 different organizations. The first one is the Yunnan Daytop Center for Drug Abuse Treatment and Rehabilitation. China has seen a rise in drug abuse in recent years due to vast social change as well as urbanization. Centers like these are one of many US-style drug rehab centers that have started popping up in China. The drug abuse epidemic has affected both the upper and lower class. So in specifically the Yunnan province, the director of this drug abuse treatment center has said that he frequently sees farmers who have lost their land due to urbanization. They go to cities to try and find work and they can't acclimate to the city environment. They don't have the same skill set that is needed to work in the city, and they often turn to drug abuse, which is also prevalent in cities compared to in farming communities. Additionally, ecstasy has become very popular in the club scene in China. So a lot of higher level businessmen will go to parties, take ecstasy, and then end up falling into a cycle of abuse. Secondly, I have the China Environmental Protection Foundation. This is an environmental group. They raise funds for other environmental groups as well as other philanthropic ventures. Their mission statement is to use what is taken from the people to serve the people. They were also granted special consultative status to the UN Economic and Social Council. Lastly, we have the China Human Rights Lawyers Concern Group. This is a group that began in 2007 in Hong Kong. It defends the rights of human rights lawyers, writers, journalists, political figures. They mainly are critics of government surveillance from Beijing. However, the group was pushed to disband after a police data request. So that is a little slice of civil society in China. Secondly, we have social movements. So firstly, the White Paper protests. The White Paper protests sparked after 6 people died in an apartment fire. It was believed that they were unable to escape the apartment due to strict COVID-19 no tolerance lockdowns policy. The white sheets of paper were symbolic of the lack of expression and suppression of free speech and expression from the Chinese government. It spread to Singapore and has gained a lot more traction in recent years. But it was also, additionally, it was sparked by the death of those 6 people, but it also was protesting against the harsh COVID-19 lockdowns that were going on in China, the zero tolerance policy, and it argued that these policies were infringing on their human rights. And then so secondly, I've got the 2019 Hong Kong protests. Hong Kong citizens, many of them young people and students, protested a bill that would allow for extradition from Hong Kong to mainland China. There were fears that this would give tools to oppress Hong Kong political opponents that were disliked by the government in Beijing. Also, it was feared that journalists and free speech would be at risk after this bill went through. Hong Kong was formerly a British colony, and right now it lives under the one country, two party system. So it is one country with China, but they have 2 different systems. So China is under the communist system. Hong Kong is a little bit more democratic, but there has been a pressure from the Chinese government pushing on the Hong Kong democracy. Yeah, and then so thirdly, here we've got identity groups. The largest identity group in China is the Han Chinese. They make up 92% of China's population, and their primary language is Mandarin. The Han Chinese also make up 19% of the entire world's population. So, in China, any other group that is not Han is a minority group. Secondly, we've got the Mongols. The Mongols account for 60 million Chinese citizens. Previously, the Mongols were a nomadic tribe. Also, famously, Genghis Khan was a Mongol. Um, they frequently speak Mongolian and often also speak Mandarin. Um, and lastly, here we've got the Manchu, which account for 4 million citizens. The majority of Manchu people live in the northeastern part of China, and the native language has widely been lost, with only around 50 people today knowing the native Manchu language. Yeah, okay. Fourthly, here we've got immigration. So, less than 1% of China's population is made up of immigrants due to the difficult and very selective process of becoming a Chinese citizen. Only children of Chinese nationals are given citizenship. Foreigners are only allowed to own property, and it must be the owner's residence. However, gaining permanent residency is a highly selective but much more accessible process. People who are skilled professionals can gain permanent residency as long as they've lived in China for at least 5 years and are employed by a Chinese company, and they can also prove that they have made contributions to the Chinese economy. Also, people who are married to a Chinese citizen can gain residency under similar qualifications. And all right, that's all I have. Thank you so much. I'll put the slides down below.